We're recording, and I'm going to mute.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone. Again, thank you for joining. This is Melissa Anger. We'll get through this hopefully pretty quickly so you can get back to the NCAA tournament, because I know all of you are looking for these games, and Mount St. Mary's plays at 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. And I apologize in advance for my voice. So tonight, we're going to have our pre-competition basketball webinar for the state tournament next weekend.
Melissa, Melissa, before you get into that, since the audio portion is different for these folks, we should just point out everybody, particularly given the large number of people that we have, everybody is muted. But if you do have a question as we're going through, you can either type it into the question box on your control panel, or you can click on the little thing that looks like a hand, and I'll be watching that, and I'll let Melissa know that there's a question, and we can unmute your line so you can ask your question. So, and we'll have a period for questions at the end, handled similarly. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. I know we have Maryland School for the Deaf coaches on here too, Mike, so just FYI, they might be asking questions. I know they're going to try to keep up as much as possible by just reading the slides, but they might be asking some questions too. So tonight, we're just going to go over things, get ready for the tournament. Next weekend for the state tournament. And like Mike said, we'll answer any questions at the end of the webinar, but you can ask questions throughout if need be. So the 2017 event guide will get sent out hopefully early next week so that you have it a little early. Has all the information that you'll need for the tournament to be prepared for your teams. The schedule, same as it usually is. And this is a common schedule for every venue for both days. Delegation check-in will start around 8:30, 8:45 with a coaches meeting at each site at 9 o'clock, led by the site manager, the site lead. So that's either going to be one of the key volunteers that I have running the site for me, and or the staff lead that is there. Just go over the basics, make sure you don't have any questions, and we should have an official there as well to go over a few things also. We'll have opening ceremonies at 9:30 with games starting at 10. The end of the conclusion of the competition will vary from each site. Once I finish the schedule, I'll get that out to you. Just some points of emphasis to go over. Same thing I said to everyone during the required qualifiers. No changes can be added to the roster. Whatever is on that roster, that's it. Everyone has verified and confirmed their rosters. Nothing can change. The only thing that can change are scratches. Okay? No one can be added to the bottom. Uniforms. Again, myself or someone on my SMT or staff has already gone through this, but if you're not in proper uniform, and we've checked through all the qualifiers and talked to specific coaches about uniform infractions, just as a reminder, at the state tournament, if they're not in uniform, they're not playing, okay? If they have a different colored t-shirt on underneath their jersey than everyone else, they can take it off and play, put the jersey back on, but they cannot play if they're out of uniform. A big thing that I noticed this year, more than ever, and this has been a rule since before I started at SOMD, no tights or pants can be worn under the uniform. I've given out maybe 3 exceptions, and that is it. No one, I know that's like the style now with the long compression pants, leggings, whatever. Those cannot be worn. They will be asked to take them off. If they don't take them off, they will not play. Okay? We'll go over, I'll talk to my sports management team about this for next year, but this year they are not allowed to be worn unless you have already previously talked to me. If you haven't talked to me already, it's too late. You have the whole season. I have talked to each coach that I've seen it with, not allowed to be worn. Just to go over quickly again, in 5v5 traditional and 5v5 unified, you can press. Okay? You can full court press, which means all the way from baseline to baseline, unless a team is up by 15 points. If you're up by 15 or more, you are not allowed to press. Okay? If you have a gentleman's agreement with the other coach about not pressing and then they press, it's not up to the officials to uphold that. That's not their job. Okay? 5v5 PDU, there is no pressing. Obviously 3v3, there's no pressing either. So this is only for 5v5 traditional and 5v5 unified team play. Okay? I will get the schedules and divisions out to everyone no later than Wednesday, March 22nd. I'm hoping to get them out before, but you will get them by Wednesday at the latest. Please do not email me asking me where they are. They will come out no later than Wednesday. These are just some basic points of emphasis. We've already gone over these. These were in the preseason webinar also. Okay. Game time for 3v3 are 2 10-minute halves. Okay. 5v5, it's going to be 4 6-minute quarters. If the site is running behind, then the competition and venue director, which is myself and whoever the venue director is, can change it to 2 12-minute halves, but that's only a last-second thing if we get behind. We are going to be playing 4 6-minute quarters, just like we did all the qualifiers. For 3v3, it's a running clock except the last minute of each half. It'll be stop clock on all whistles. And for full court, for all the 5v5 events, the clock will stop on foul shots, the last 10 seconds of the first and third quarter, so all whistles the last 10 seconds of the first and third quarter, and the last minute of the second and fourth quarters, or last minute of each half. Okay, it's the only time the clock is going to stop. I know we did not have foul shots during qualifiers. We will have them during states, so I hope you all have been working with your teams on these. Okay, 3v3 will not have foul shots, just like always. 5v5 will have foul shots. Okay, please make sure your athletes know what they're doing. Team management, there is an absolute zero tolerance for fighting. Any kind of fighting, verbal, physical, anything. It is an immediate disqualification and ejection of the team from the tournament. There is no fighting. We're not going to go for that. Okay? Potential addition sanctions for players, coaches, or teams as a whole might have to go through the conduct committee if a fight happens. Coaches need to have control over your teams. It starts with you. You set a positive attitude, positive example, then your team will have a positive attitude. That means no talking back and arguing with the officials, whether it's coaches, athletes, partners, mentors, anyone. Anyone on the bench or on the court are not to talk back to the officials. Okay? They are volunteers just like you guys. They are here giving their time to help us. What they see as an official is what is being called. They don't have any vendettas against anyone. They don't have favorite teams that they're going to make easier and give calls to and not give it to the other team. None of that. Okay? Don't say that. Don't say that they're hurting your team, that they're not being fair. They're calling the game fair as they can. They might have had a different angle than you had and saw something different. Bottom line. Their call is it. Nothing else after that.
Melissa, obviously the coach, if there's a significant issue, they have the option to file a protest, which they can do, I guess, at wherever the control center is at each venue. If they have a real concern with the way an official is calling a game, it's the proper position, obviously, to be professional, as it indicated there, but to connect with the site manager at that facility.
I'm sorry. Yes.
If they're at Oakdale,
yes,
they have an issue, they go talk to Kelly Cox, who is the site manager at Oakdale, so on down the line.
Kelly or Steve Bennett. Yes.
Right. Okay. Just want to make sure folks know what they can do if they have a concern. That goes beyond the occasional missed call, which happens in every sport at every level. That's the appropriate thing to do, is to go and speak to that individual, and if they're able to, they'll address it. Thanks.
Yeah, and the site managers will be the ones most likely leading the coaches meetings. So you'll know exactly who they are, and you'll check in at the control center, so you'll know where that is as well. All right. Just some quick player development, unified review, since I know we do have some PDU coaches on the call. Mentors can dribble, keeping it to a minimum. They can pass. They serve as on-court instructors for the athletes to learn the game. And they can give verbal and visual instructions to the athletes. Okay? They cannot shoot, steal the ball, set screens, play defense against anyone, other mentors or athletes, rebound, stand in the paint, or advance the ball down the court. Okay, the rebound, if it comes to them without them moving, that is fine. They can catch it. They don't have to get out of the way. Only if it comes directly to them. That's it. They're not allowed to move to go get the rebound. Okay. With the dribbling, we want that for full court, for 5v5, we want the athletes to be the ones advancing the ball. Okay? The big thing. The athletes need to learn how to advance the ball themselves. We don't want the mentors dribbling down the court. We want the mentors to stay out of the paint just to keep it uncluttered. Unless you're going to move one of the athletes and tell them where to go, get in and get out. Okay? For 3v3, make sure the mentors stay either above the foul line or out of bounds under the basket. Okay? Keep them out of the paint. Just keep them away and just have them talking to them. Mentors, if there's not an athlete around them and the ball is going out of bounds, they can go and try to save the ball. That's fine. But if an athlete is going for that ball, then they need to let the athlete go for it. Okay? They can't go get the ball if an athlete is going after it. So the facilities that we're using this year, we're using Maryland School for the Deaf. On Saturday, we'll have 3v3 player development and 5v5 player development. Sunday, we'll have both 5v5 unified and 5v5 traditional played at Maryland School for the Deaf. So we are using that both days. Urbana High School on Saturday has individual skills. And this year you'll be there by yourself, so you have both gyms and the cafeteria all to yourselves. We're not using Urbana for Sunday. Oakdale on Saturday, 3v3 traditional, just like it has in the past couple of years. And on Sunday, 5v5 traditional. Hood College and Tuscarora are only going to be used on Sunday. We're not using either of those schools on Saturday. Hood will have 5v5 unified on Sunday, and Tuscarora will have 5v5 traditional on Sunday. Okay. Please don't email me, ask me where your team's going to be. Honestly, right now, if you're a 5v5 unified or traditional team, I might not know until I do the schedule. I have an idea, but please don't email me asking me about it. Facilities, so these next couple slides are just maps. Oakdale, enter through the side of the gym. I'm sorry, through the side of the building by the football field. And you have the main gym and the auxiliary gym right there. Where it says volunteer registration, that is where the control center is going to be as well. So it's it's the wrestling room right there. So that's where the control center, Kelly and Steve, will set up. Maryland School for the Deaf. So this is Benson Gym, which is the high school gym. We will have 5v5 player development in this gym. On Saturday. And then the elementary school gym, which is right outside, across the parking lot, the elementary school, we will have 3v3 player development there on Saturday. And then both gyms will be used for 5v5 traditional and unified games. We're not going to have traditional one gym and unified in the other. It's going to be mixed and matched. So please be aware of which gym you are playing at on Sunday. Urbana, the main gym is going to be where the individual skills competition is taking place. The auxiliary gym, and I apologize, I did not take this off. It says 3v3 player development unified. That is not right. The auxiliary gym is not being used for another event. They might use that gym for some of the preliminary rounds of individual skills. Brian Goering, who has run individual skills the last couple of years, will be running it again this year. And I believe he's going to use it for the preliminary rounds only, so that we can get through the schedule a little bit quicker and you're not just sitting around. Tuscarora, same as always, so you're going to enter through the side of the building by the gym, and we're going to use both the auxiliary and the main gym. Hood College, there's only the one gym, which is BB&T Arena. There is plenty of seating in that gym, and there's also the second floor, which is a spectator viewing area also. This is just another map of Hood College, just to show you a little bit. The star, obviously, is BB&T Arena, so there's a couple different ways that you can go or come from. Just some administrative stuff. For delegation check-in, we ask the head coach to check in for their team. Please tell your athletes not to come in and ask where you guys are, or they don't have to check in individually. They check in with you, not in the control center, okay? When you check in, report any scratches if someone's not going to be there for the state that's on your roster. Let whoever is checking you in, let them know, okay? In your package, you'll have rosters, lunch tickets, and your credentials. Only those with coaching credentials can be on the bench. They do not have a coaching credential, they will be asked to be removed from the bench. Everyone has given me their assistant coaches, or at least was supposed to. So they are on the rosters. If they are supposed to be an assistant coach and you didn't tell me, sorry, they're not sitting on the bench. Okay?
Melissa, there's one other qualification with that. If they have not met the requirements to be a coach, they will not be credentialed, particularly if they have not completed the concussion certification. Everybody's been notified that numerous times. If they don't have that, they will not be credentialed as a coach.
Correct. So if you don't have a coaching credential, you are not allowed to sit on the bench, period. Okay? Medicals, coaches, make sure you have a copy of medicals with you at all times. That should be with any time you practice, qualifiers, anything. You should always have a copy with you. Awards will be presented on the court after the division is done or when an award can be presented, but they will be presented on the court. For individual skills, I believe Brian is looking to have the individual skills awards presented in the auxiliary gym, but it would either be in the auxiliary gym or the cafeteria, one or the other, but it won't be far from the main gym. And we'll have signs and arrows and everything pointing you in that direction. Jeff Abel will actually be leading the individual skills awards, so he'll be your best bet to find when it's time to get awards. We will have an opening ceremony at each site before both days. They will be brief. We're going to just go through and then get the game started. Meal tickets are needed. You will have a meal ticket for each person that's registered in your delegation for your team. They will have a ticket in your packet when you pick it up. Just as last year, Sheets is donating lunches to us, which is great. We had that last year. At Hood College, we will have lunches from Hood. So those at Hood obviously will get a different lunch. I sent out the email, I believe it was last week, about gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian lunches for the survey. Those need to be done by tomorrow. If you have an athlete on your team that needs a special lunch, if you didn't register for it, then if we don't have it, that's on you guys. Okay? We're going to have specialty lunches for those that have signed up through the SurveyMonkey. Okay? I'll send out the link. If you need the link again, email me, and I'll get it back out to you. Okay? Lunches are going to be served in the cafeteria or cafeteria area of each school. At Maryland School for the Deaf, it's going to be served in the elementary school cafeteria, which is right across from the gym. So if you're playing in the high school gym, you have to go to the elementary school gym to get your lunches, okay? They will not be served at the high school gym. But the high school gym will have a concession stand where you can purchase something. The elementary school will not have a concession stand. The high school will. Hood College, to pick up your lunches, like I said, being provided by the school. You'll pick them up in the lobby of the gym. Okay. Please, we're using these schools. Please do not make a mess of these schools. Make sure you, your athletes, your families, everyone cleans up after themselves. Okay. The evaluation survey I will send out with the results with a couple days after the event. So please fill that out, send it to the parents, send it to the families, volunteers that you have on your team, send to them to give us the survey, to fill out the survey so we can get the best results that you can, okay? Mike, are there any questions?
Hi, just a sec. Let's see. It's not a question, but Dave Donovan had a comment. Dave, I'm going to go ahead and unmute your phone, and you should be able to ask your question. I also see that Marie McGing has her hand raised, and Archie Savannah has his hand raised. So we'll get to you guys next.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Melissa. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't a question, but I just wanted to point out, last year at the high school state games, the refs there, I hadn't recognized from other times, the ones that ended up doing the last couple of games of ours, and they were great, had great personality, but I honestly didn't think they called enough fouls, and the aggressive play escalated throughout the last couple of games, and I'd rather they actually called more fouls than less fouls, both ways. And
Okay.
the players were, so just when you get a chance to tell the refs, I would encourage them, don't be timid about calling fouls on these guys just because they're Special Olympics athletes. They're just able to foul like anybody else, and it was getting pretty aggressive.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk to Jason Rhodes, who is taking over as the lead official for this year, our head official, while Keith is recovering from an injury. And she is getting a lot of new officials, which is great. But like you said, they're new to Special Olympics, and I think a lot of them are a little timid. So I'll talk to Jason to have them feel comfortable with calling those fouls.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, and I'm going to unmute Marie McGing.
Hi, Miss Marie.
Hi. As far as the pants in the very beginning, if some of the skills athletes do show up and not bring their shorts, will that be an issue, just in case?
They're supposed to be in the full basketball uniform.
I know. You just never know with skills.
I know. Yeah.
They need to be in uniform.
Yeah, they need to be in uniform.
Okay, we'll make sure that they know that this week coming up.
And if you have extra shorts, I would say bring them with you.
Okay, I will let her know.
Just in case someone doesn't bring them, that way they can compete.
Okay, great. That's it.
And then we had a question typed in by Archie Savannah.
Yep, with MSD.
Yes, I'm answering it for him, but for the benefit of everyone else, if you happen to have one team where two players get sick on that game day, will they be able to can the team play with 6 or 7 players? So I'll respond to him because I know what the answer is, but if you can share that since others may have that same question.
Sure. Yeah, if someone gets sick on the day of, yes, you can definitely still play with 6 or 7. You can play with, if it's 5v5, you can play with 5. You just don't have any substitutes. If you have under 5, then you cannot play. And same with 3-on-3. If you can start with 3 players. If you have only 2 show up for the day, then you cannot play. You have to start with the correct number of players to be able to play.
Okay. Mike, I'm going to go ahead and Mike Clam, I'm going to go ahead and open up for your question.
Hey, Mike.
You should speak.
Mike?
Mike
Clam, your phone
should
be open.
Sorry, my phone was muted too. Double mute. We're going to be recording fouls, and at 5 fouls, you're fouled out, right? I know at qualifier they didn't, and we had a couple athletes who probably should have fouled out, so I just want to verify that we will all.
Yes.
I know they're shooting foul shots, but we'll record fouls and foul out at 5 fouls.
Yes, they can foul out at 5 fouls.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. And we will be shooting fouls 1-on-1 at 7 and double bonus at 10 if we get up that high.
And do they restart at quarters or halves?
It restarts at half.
All right, that's what I thought. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, I'm going to unmute Scott Kaufman, and then Gabriel Jones, you're on deck after Scott asks his question. Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Melissa.
Hi, Scott.
Great job as usual. I've got a question regarding fouling out. I realize that in 3v3 there is no fouling out, and I realize that an athlete can be tossed if they are intentionally aggressive. But if a player is causing foul after foul after foul, disrupting the flow of the game, as it were, and potentially, because of all the fouling, could hurt somebody unintentionally. Is there anything that we can do about that, short of tossing the athlete?
The officials will give warning, and the officials have the right to sit anyone. So if they're fouling too much, they might ask for a substitute, or if they're fouling too hard, the ref might ask for a substitute, and that's not technically throwing them out of the game.
Right.
That's just asking for a substitute, and then it's up to the coach to talk to them about it. But the officials have the right and the power to stop the game and ask for a substitute if they think someone is fouling too hard or too much. And it's more just a teaching moment at the 3v3 level.
Right, but you can't guarantee that the coach will teach the lesson. It's one thing for the rep to say to the coach, take the athlete out. It's another thing for the coach to sit the athlete for some period of time and talk to the athlete, as opposed to at the next whistle putting the athlete back in because the athlete happens to be the best athlete.
Right. No, I agree. And it's really up to the coaches to watch that and keep control of their team. There's not really much more we can do. It's really up to you guys as coaches to handle that. If the ref needs to get a substitute for one of your players, or if you see them fouling too much, then you need to take control of that as coaches and teach them that that's not the correct way to play basketball.
Melissa, also, I mean, just as an aside, the referees have the authority to make sure that the game is safe. And so if there is some
Correct.
kind of a safety concern, they certainly can take additional action.
Right, and I suspect what happened during the qualifier this past weekend was an athlete literally double-digit fouls, even though there's no fouling out, and the ref was a new ref. So I suspect there was some timidness on the part of the ref in that situation. It was the only time I've ever seen this happen, but I prefer no team experience that again.
No, and I agree. And again, I'll talk to Jaisha. So whatever ref she has attending the 3-on-3 events, to be aware of that and know that they can sit someone out for it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Scott.
I'm going to open up the line for Gabriel Jones, and then Dave Donovan, I'll have you on deck. I saw your typed in question, but we'll open it up for you after Gabriel. Gabrielle makes her question.
Hi, I have a question about scheduling. I just got a text from coaches. I can email this if you'd like, but we have 2 younger teams, and I believe at the qualifiers they're scheduled just to play each other twice, and they're just asking if they could play other teams as well.
I'm going to do my best. Hopefully, preferably, I don't like having 2-team division, but it's sometimes we have to because those are the only 2 teams that would be competitive with each other.
Right.
So I'm going to try not to do that. But if that's what's best to make the most competitive division, then that's what we have to do.
Okay. Do you want me to email you about it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. No problem. We'll do that.
Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you.
Okay, muting Gabby. And Dave Donovan, you are unmuted again.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw my question, but I was just wondering if you're going to use double elimination bracketing again this year, or only use like round robin play. The reason I asked is last year we had a team play 4 games, and if not for a last second shot, they would have had a 5th game, and the players were noticeably fatigued, and it just seemed that contributed to the rough play, and it almost started to seem like a safety issue.
If it's a 4 or 5 team division, then it will be a bracket play. If it is a 2 or 3 team division, then it'll be a round robin. So there is a possibility of. Go ahead.
With the bracket play, does that imply double elimination?
Yes. So if you're in a 4 to 5 team division, then it will be a double elimination situation.
Okay, because that could lead to up to 5 games to win today then.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't, but it's a possibility. I'm trying not to have 5 team divisions if I can help it.
Melissa, we can talk about that offline. Let's see what some of the options might be. I think David raises a legitimate concern. So.
Yeah, the main option would be to just play, if there's 4 teams or something, play a round robin and then have it, if 2 teams happen to tie for first or second, you just have some sort of scoring tiebreaker or that's understood ahead of time that will break a tie for medals.
Yeah, so Mike and I will sit down tomorrow or early next week and talk about different options.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
When the brackets go out, when Melissa sends them out, we'll certainly have at that point what the progression is, and so you'll know at that point whether what the decision was if we haven't told you ahead of time. That said, I don't see anyone else with either a hand raised or a question typed in that we didn't address. If I'm wrong, please do type it in. Or if anybody else has a hand to raise or wants to raise their hand, we can open up the lines. Again, with 40 people on the line, it's real difficult to control background noise. That's the other part here. For those of you who've done webinars with us for a while, this new audio component, which allows people to use the voice over internet and such, unfortunately doesn't have an automatic, like that *6, you can mute your own phone function. So, Melissa, looking here, I still do not see any other questions. So I guess everybody at this point has all their questions answered.
Okay, great. If anyone has a question later on, please feel free to email me if it wasn't gone over in the webinar today. And I will send out the recording of this webinar and the slides, and then hopefully by tomorrow, if not by Monday at the latest. Okay? Everyone have a great night, and thank you for joining us. Enjoy the NCAA tournament. I'll see you guys all next week.
Can you stay on the line for just a sec?